What's up, y'all? Welcome to Contemplations with Austin, episode 18. Wow, we're almost halfway there. Look at that. We're doing this thing, fam. Today's July 2nd, 2026. And today, this podcast is brought to you by Entheos Holistics. Thank you all to everyone who listened to the episode yesterday. Big changes in the field for Entheos. And really just standing in the power and potency of microdosing. If you're looking to find yourself again, this is the way. If you're looking to heal, this is the way. Be more creative, be more expressive, more truthful. This is the way. If you are curious, check out the link in my bio. I think that's what you call this thing on YouTube. I don't know. I'll put the link in there somewhere. The link's at the top of the page underneath the name of this here podcast. Today, we're going to contemplate on Loretta. Thank you for the submission. Developing the masculine container for oneself. Not exactly on that contemplation, but just on the frequencies of polarity. The masculine feminine dynamics is really what's coming up, because I've been noticing myself in a pattern of avoidance today, y'all. As I spoke about on yesterday's episode, I'm in a deep place of listening. I've had my phone on Do Not Disturb all day, which is not like me. I've ignored phone calls, not returned text messages so far because of a conversation. Not a conversation, a voice note I received from somebody very dear to me yesterday expressing a lot of truth about patterns I've been in and just what they see. And again, I'm in the place of my life where I can receive anybody's reflection and know that their process has nothing to do with me. That I have nothing to do with their process, yet their process has everything to do with me. And so I take no responsibility for what anybody moves through in the reflection of me. And their reflection is everything I need to see about myself. This is how I navigate life. This is how I look at all circumstances, things that are happening. Because that brings the power back to me. It forces me to look at myself in the mirror of what the people in my life are presenting me. People I love and trust. And so I've been listening. Fuck it, I'm going to talk about it. I keep putting myself on blast. Why not? It's not even putting myself on blast. It's stepping into integrity and authenticity. If I say that this is what I want to be a voice for and I teach others that this is the path, then I have to walk it. Yeah. That's ultimately what this comes down to. And one of the things that this brother reflected to me is I have not been listening. I've been making my opinion and my voice and my ideas and et cetera, override, and that I don't see them. And I haven't been actually seeing them at the depth that that they've offered, and that I haven't. There's a disconnect between what they're offering and what I'm seeing, because I haven't been listening. And there's truth to that, and that's hard to admit. Fuck. But you know what? The more I keep saying these things that are hard to admit, the more I say the things that I don't want to say, the easier it is literally to say the next thing that I don't want to say. So I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep calling myself forward by allowing myself to be seen, even in the parts that I don't want to be seen in. And the truth is, y'all, relative to this individual, I have not been listening. And it goes into a lot of what I talked about in episode 17 yesterday. That I've had this unworthiness wound alive, masked in the wound of scarcity that I've been spiritually bypassing. And and this came up in my last relationship too. Whenever I'm in one of my shadow expressions, a lot of that stems from me not seeing myself. And so if I don't see myself, how can I see anybody else? Anything that how do I want to say this? Everything, again, just back to the basics here. Everything is just a reflection of me. Everything, undeniably, 100% of everything is a reflection of me. And so I'm not responsible for anybody else's process. I'm not responsible for what they think, what they feel, what they experience in the mirror of me. And I am responsible of how I show up in that mirror. I am responsible for looking at myself in that mirror. And this is the part that gets uncomfortable. I think this is going back to the masculine container thing. I think this is why it's so hard for men to hold space, is they take on other people's stories as their own. This is what I'm talking about in my men's group tonight. I've been hearing from so many women that it's like, I've been I've been receiving the frustrations of women in the cohort and the inner sanctuary, the premium offering inside Entheos, the community. Like, I speak my truth, my husband can't hold it, so what's the fucking point? Like, he gets triggered, he gets defensive, he turns into a little boy. And so the offering, how to develop a masculine container, is can we listen? Can we just receive without taking it on and be able to see our role to play? We're all equally playing roles. And so I received this from my brother yesterday, and I've been listening today. And it was beautiful because in receiving that, it's so ironic. It's like I received this note from him, and within 3 minutes of listening to it, I went to respond. And inside of that, I like caught myself. I'm like, bro, this is exactly what he's fucking talking about. Like, what? And I laughed. I caught myself in the moment. I'm like, whoa, let me take some space. Let me slow down. And I notice what listening is. It is slowing down. It's giving myself room to just notice and be aware. And the reason I'm so appreciative of him speaking some difficult truths to me is because it activated the part in me that was the representation of the shadow that is reflected in what he's speaking to. I hope y'all caught that. The very defense mechanisms we have are a lot of times what the mirror is presenting us. And so if we learn to listen and receive, this is the masculine container. Can I create enough spaciousness to just receive? And not in the way that the feminine receives. Like, this is what it means for a man to hold the container. Like, inside of that container, there's going to be a swell of emotion, of chaos, right? The feminine's chaotic, emotional. And so as a man, when I think about holding space for my woman or just the feminine in my life, can I just sit there and witness? Can I be witness to what's happening? Can I listen to what's happening? And inside of that listening, can I notice my own parts coming up? Like, wow, I want to get defensive. I want to get triggered. I want to be reactive. I want to tell them that they're wrong. I want to explain my side of the story. All of that is coming from our own shadow and our own wounds and our own traumas, trying to defend the very thing that's wanting to be seen. Any action or behavior in your life that is playing out that you don't like, we don't like to admit this to ourselves. I don't like to admit this to myself. I'm sorry. Not that I need to apologize, but I just, I'm trying to be so conscious of, like, I don't want to ever speak. You need to, you should do, stop doing that. I trust your path is your own. I trust whatever you're doing in your life is exactly what you need to do to teach yourself that lesson. So I don't enjoy inside of when I'm speaking, when I try to put my experience on you. So just calling that out so I can be more conscious of it myself. In my experience, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. Which is so funny. Inside of that, I had like 5 people reach out this week of like, thank you for just owning when you lose your train of thought. I do it all the time. Ha ha. It's been nice to share those laughs with y'all. Where was I? When these parts of us come online that we don't like, I just did the same thing. When my parts come online that I don't like, and this can be a we thing, I'm just making the point. Anything that we deny, push in the shadows, or run from So I like to just simplify this expression, like the what's that? Jack in the Box. It's like the Jack in the Box. It's a spring. It's held under this thing and it's waiting to just and just jump out. Right? It's this. It's the part. Our part is the jack that's in the box. That's spring loaded. It's shoved down. And so when things manifest, behaviors, patterns, addictions, triggers, reactivity, it's the part of us wanting to be known. And so it acts out in a shadowy way so that it can get our attention. And so the masculine container is about, can we notice those parts? Can we listen? Can we receive what's actually there? I feel receiving is such a feminine description. I'm trying to witness, I guess, is a better way of positioning it. Yeah, the masculine is just about holding yourself in all things. And I think this is the thing that happens with men inside of relationships is if we don't know these parts of ourselves, if we don't know the part of ourselves we're defending against, and then our woman speaks truth and activates that part because I have not been witness to it, I have not held space for myself, I don't have these tools in the container and the know-how, then I lash out. I make my woman wrong. Oh, you always say that I don't do good enough, you know, but I did that thing yesterday and now you're saying that I did that every relationship. I know that one. Defending against the truth that they're at. And so my invitation that I'm going to bring to the men tonight, I wrote a little note about it yesterday. What was it? What am I bringing to the men tonight? Yeah, presenting them with an opportunity to challenge. Go ask your woman, business partner, best friend, somebody in your life that you trust, to speak truths that they've been withholding without the need to respond or say anything. Just witness. Notice the parts of you that come up. Notice the mind that starts spinning, that wants to grab, that wants to prove wrong, that wants to defend, that looks for evidence of why that person's wrong. And this is why I always speak to what I try to do in my own experience of I'm trying to separate myself from the requirement that anybody that ever says or projects anything on me has nothing to do with me. And inside of what they bring me, I look for what is mine. This is how I stay sovereign in my own experience while staying in integrity within my experience. I assume that there's truth in what's being provided to me while disconnecting myself from the responsibility of what's being delivered. So I try, and it's not always great. Yesterday it put me in a funk. Today I've been in a not a process, but like in a different frame of mind, a different state of mind. I've been relating to time differently today. I've been slowing down. It's like, and so it's not that I'm taking the responsibility of what received is on, but like what is mine inside of that? That is what it means to be the masculine container, in my opinion, Loretta. Developing the masculine container for oneself. And I believe a lot of the masculine container is about integrity. Am I in integrity with myself more than anything? Am I willing to look at the parts of myself that I know I'm avoiding? Am I willing to bear witness and be witness to the parts of me that I don't like? Can I own those? Can I claim those? I had a coaching call with a client yesterday morning. And she stated she was just in a process of just opening, you know. I often find when a client gets rolling and they're talking and they're like, I'm just rambling. I'm like, this is the best. Like, ramble on. And I got a call with a client here in 45 minutes. It's one of my favorite people to work with because he'll just go for like 45 minutes. And it's so juicy because when we let ourselves flow and just speak, that's when all the truth that we avoid comes out. And in her dialoguing, in her just kind of rambling, she just subtly drops, like, I hate that part of myself. And I was like, whoa, let me make a note of that. And after the dialogue was done, I went back and I'm like, hey, this is a really big thing to acknowledge. I remember the first time I acknowledged it, that I hated a part of myself. I felt the weight and heaviness. I'm like, wow, I've been carrying that hate against myself probably my whole life. And so this is part of that masculine container. Can I be witness to the entire truth of my experience without judging it, but allow myself to hold myself in that experience? That is part of nervous system regulation. That is part of parts work. I don't need anything to change. I allow it to be exactly as it is, to meet myself inside of that experience, trusting that me being here is exactly where I am meant to be. So much of this work comes back down to trust, because if I learn to trust myself inside of the experience of where I am, I'm fully accepting and surrendered to what's happening in my life in this moment, that is how we learn how to connect to and find and trust God. And I believe I'm starting to see that so much of my perspective in life is really going back to God. I talked about that on one of these episodes, like, or no, maybe it was an Instagram post, like this disconnection I had from God and prayer for so long, and I'm coming back to this thing. And a Carl Jung quote is coming through right now. Addiction is just a search for God. Something like that. At the end of the day, what I think we're all seeking, whether we are conscious of it or not, is our way back to God, because we are in part a fractal of that infinite consciousness. And so when we work our way back to God, we work our way back to self. When we know ourselves, we find and know God. And so much of this work is about that witnessing, about allowing, about trusting, about surrendering to the experience as it is. And that is how I continue to build my masculine container. Can I receive the truth of what's being reflected to me as it is, and notice the parts of me that come up inside of it? And guess what those parts often come up as? Ping! We're so guided in this life. We are so protected in this life. We are so held in this life. And I pray for all of us that we may continue to find ourselves in the truth of our experience, to know how protected and safe that we are in all moments. Thank you for being here. That feels complete. Appreciate y'all. Signing off. See you tomorrow for episode 19. Much love, y'all.